Welcome to Meet the Biz. We have, this man is beautiful. I mean, he is a singer, a producer, an actor, a writer, a director, and he is the co-founder of the Young Actors Theater Camp. Ever since that I saw him the first time, I can't even speak because I've been mesmerized by him. He's magic, Mr. Shawn Ryan. There he is.
Hi, that was such a nice intro.
Thank you.
I mean, you may need to play that on a loop for my morning affirmation.
Oh, thank you. Well, it's true in the sense that, you know, there's certain people that you watch perform and you just go, and you can't speak sometimes, and you have that ability to do that to people. So
thank you. That means a lot to me. I in all the actors that I've gotten to work with over the years, you know, when they talk about what's the greatest piece of advice, and I've heard so many other actors say this as well, that I really didn't get to fall into myself as a performer or as an actor until I learned who I was as a person. And so to have the times that people have said that they enjoy watching me makes me feel great, because it makes me feel like I'm living myself, and people like that. So it's a nice affirmation to get. I appreciate it.
Yeah. When do you think you came into yourself?
Several times, but I think the time that mattered the most, like the time that in terms of show business, and in terms of LA, I think I was probably in my late 20s. I think I was a late bloomer. It was maybe 27 or 28. No judgment against anyone who feels like they haven't reached there. You reach it, I think, several times during your life. But that was a big one for me.
What was that, yesterday?
Oh, it's maybe 15 years ago now. But I literally remember casting directors and directors just saying oh, but can you play straight? You know, I was moved to LA when I was 25 or 26. And so this was in the early 2000s. Late 90s, early 2000s. And people were just trying to figure out, you know, exactly how they could get you the most amount of work. And unfortunately, I thought sometimes agents and casting directors would sort of say you know, lose as much weight as you can, be as in shape as you can be, and can you play straight? And that was a lot of the advice I got when I was moving to LA in the late 90s and early 2000s. And it was just a weird piece of advice to get when you feel like you're trying to be your most authentic artist.
Right.
And, you know, not to say that I've heard so many wonderful performers say it's our job to get up and work out. Doesn't mean you have to be skinny. It just means you have to take care of your instrument. It's our job. It's our job. And I get that.
Yeah.
That's not what I was getting. I was getting commercial agents saying the rounder the face, the fewer the opportunities. And I'd be like, oh, okay. Whoa. And so then finally in my late 20s, when some of the work I was doing on stage and with comedy and cabaret was getting noticed, I thought, well, this is probably a better in for me to know that I can be myself in the room. And that's really when my agents and managers started noticing that I was getting called back on every project I was going out for. And they called me the callback kid, because they're if I didn't book, I at least got a call back. And they'd be like, how does that work? And I'm I think it's just because I don't really, it's not that I don't care anymore, but it is sort of that you don't care. It's sort of well, this is my take on the character. This is what I'm bringing to this. Have at it, or see you next time. But you're definitely going to get, you know, you're going to get me when you call in. And that's probably the thing that I wish I had learned earlier. It's so, I teach so many young people, and it's so unfair when kids say what's the greatest piece of advice you could offer? And you're know yourself. And the kid's I'm 9. And yes. That's why showbiz is not meant for kids. That's why you have, you know, geniuses like Dakota Fanning, where you're yes, but you were clearly not a 4 or 5-year-old entering the business. You had the mind of a 25-year-old. You were just in the body of a 5-year-old, you know?
Right.
sort of genius children who know themselves way too young.
Well, what about that? What about what is your advice to parents that want to get their kids in really young, like 4 or 5?
Yeah, I think it's, Howard Meltzer, the casting director, said it best when he just said, don't. And keep in mind, he was teaching a kids class at the time, and the parent was like, what should we do? And he's like, don't do it. He's like, don't. And it was just so like jarring. I'm looking around at the parents like, are they all going to walk out of this workshop? And he was like, no, to be honest, like, study, do plays, be a part of independent film, go to your local, your college or the university in your town that has a film department and say, hey, my kid wants to be an actor and they want to get some experience and get a reel together. But yeah, in terms of like packing up the family and moving to LA when they're like 12, I think the span of an actor's career needs to be a lifetime.
Yeah.
I do think that you have to think of it in terms of like, I started professionally acting. I think my first paid professional job was when I was 16. And then I think my next one was when I was 19. And I think the one after that was when I was like 21. So there were great spans of time. And if you're thinking like, we're going to move when they're 12, and if they don't make it by 13, then we're heading back to the Midwest. I'm like, I don't think that's the game you should play with your kid's life. Like,
I was having my bar mitzvah at 13,
and also, yeah, what do you miss out? Like, what do you miss out on that you can never revisit? The prom or homecoming or being on the soccer team or any of those things that kids should be doing. So I always just say, my advice to people who want to break in is do as much of it as you can that feels fun. And if it ever stops being fun, then stop doing it. You could always take a break. I just started working with a new coaching client today, and she said, oh, I'm worried because I took a break from 19 to 23. And being the 42-year-old that I am, I'm like, you're still 23 years old. You're still going to play 17 years old on camera. Calm down. But that we think like, oh, it's got to happen right now. It's got to happen now. No, just have fun with it. Do as many plays, as many classes, build a really strong community. I mean, if there's one thing, David and I have been able to be proof of, it's that you meet people and you connect on some level with your art. And then, maybe we talk once every 6 months, once every year, but it's a community that you can keep coming back to. It sort of feels like home. And I think that's more important than like, did you get the job?
Right.
But I know people looking at it are like, it's the job. I'm like, it's not the job.
Right. And I was reading so much about you today, and of course this popped out to me. Shawn Ryan is entertainment, and he is called the love child of Peter Allen and Bette Midler.
I mean, from that person's review to Bette Midler's ears, I'd be happy. In fact, when that was written, I didn't even know who Peter Allen was. I was ashamed to say, because I was just sort of this out performer that was zany on stage and had found a way to allow cabaret to let me be my truest comedian, my truest self, because so many people had encouraged me to do cabaret, and I was like, what even is cabaret? And they're like, well, it's like musical theater, but you choose the songs and you get to write the script. And I was like, oh, that sounds like heaven. I mean, there's so many times I would have wanted to do that in life. So I started it. And then when we did that first big show that Bruce Valanche wrote, I think that's what that review was from. Okay. People were saying like, oh yeah, it's like, another reviewer said it was the gay Bublé, that I was the gay Bublé. I was like, I'm in.
Amen.
And if you think I'm anything like Bette Midler, it's probably because I perfected I watched Bette Midler and Judy Garland from the ages of 13 to like 23, like every night of my life.
Like, you're the love child of Judy Garland and Bette Midler then.
I'd take that in a heartbeat. If I could even pay a little bit of homage to those two humans. But they were just, Bette Midler was like, again, and it wasn't until the last Vegas residency that we saw, I don't remember, I think it was called Diva Las Vegas.
Right.
But it was that show where she said, I didn't actually come into the singing thing until I was in my late 20s, early 30s. And I invented this persona as a way to be comfortable on stage because I was uncomfortable on stage. And it's so amazing to hear such an outlandish diva-esque, amazing human say that they were nervous to be on. And that's why I tell people all the time that that's exactly me. I am a light switch 100%. I am so shy in real life. And I don't think people understand that it's, sort of the outlet is the performing. The outlet is now in terms of, teaching at the camp, it's teaching. I feel like that's sort of a one-person show anyway when you're teaching.
Right.
You're trying to be entertaining. I mean, you got to be entertaining, especially on Zoom. You got to keep everyone's attention.
Right.
But it was so neat to hear another performer say that they had nerves. And still to this day, when young people are like, how do you get rid of the nerves? And I'm like, you don't. And you should never want to get rid of the nerves. The nerves will fuel your performance.
Yeah.
Just make sure you don't allow it to turn into a knee twitch. Let it be the thing that excites you and pulls you into the character. And I think those are the jobs that I've gotten most, is when I'm most nervous in the room.
Right.
And I have to go calm, collect, do your work. Those are the roles I get because there's such an energy to them. I could mess up at any moment.
Oh my God. It is interesting because thank God for Zoom during this crazy time, because it keeps me going. It keeps me connected with people. And I do notice, I have I put all this, before I start every show, I sort of take a breath and go, okay, because I'm a little excited, I'm a little nervous, and because I'm, going to connect with somebody, and then I use it. But then after that, a lot of times I'm like, when I'm on a group Zoom with friends, I'm like, I just sit there and listen,
Well, and it does take sort of, we did a group Zoom in April for my friend Valerie's birthday. Mm-hmm. And I just put the invite out thinking, oh, maybe 10 people will show up. It's Zoom, it's new. No, it was 60 people. And I think right away that I went into MC mode, where I was just like, oh, Sally, it's so great to see you here. Tell us your favorite thing about Valerie. I'm coming to you next, Sarah. I had to MC it, because otherwise people do just sort of sit and let one or two people do all the talking. And you're like, well, this is boring. But it's hard to jump in to feel that energy. And believe it or not, with the kids, because they had from April to June, they had online schooling. So they had seen how it could be done. I was able to, with our entire team of 120 teachers, I think we had this summer. Wow. Oh yeah, over 6 weeks, we were able to really work together to feel the energy of the room. And a little girl on day 3 of summer camp, which obviously had to be moved online, was like, oh, I'm just a little sad that we don't get to be, in person in Santa Cruz, in the mountains. Oh. And we were just like, you know what? I actually feel closer to you all than I would on day 3 to the campers at in-person camp.
Wow.
Because I feel like we're still for my, there's a monitor here. I have a monitor on the other side of the room, and then there's a monitor right in front of me. And I feel like I'm so concentrated on the people that I'm talking to that it's actually been better in terms of connection.
Well, what's so amazing? I mean, I'm sitting here listening to you, and it's like, I want to come to your classes. And, this is connected to the Young Actors Theater Camp, which you've been doing, for 18 years now?
Yes, we will complete our 19th year, and our 20th season starts in June of 2021. So it's crazy. I can't believe we can say that John or I can say that we've done anything for 20 years. I'm like, wait, what? How do you do something for 20 years? Well, you age 20 years, children. That's what you do. You age.
By the way, I want to throw out a name and see where it takes you.
Please.
John Ainsworth.
Where it takes me. John and I, John is my partner in life and partner in our production company. And we basically, we met 21 years ago. And 20 years ago, sorry, because this is 19 years of the camp. And it was interesting from the get-go. I think I was raised with a family that always told me I could do anything. My mom's a motivational speaker. My dad is a professional rodeo cowboy. And for people that don't know that industry, it's very similar to the entertainment industry. It is an entertainment of its own, rodeo, but it's a lot of entering into rodeos, driving yourself to the rodeo, putting yourself up, being a part of the union, for lack of a better term, the association, paying your dues, and then competing to win a prize. And I think a lot of people think of it as like, oh, it must be like football where you get chosen. But no, it's much more like golf or acting, where you put yourself up for something and then kind of hope it happens. So I had grown up around these two humans that had like super, super positive outlooks on life. And like, you could do anything, you could be anything, which was great. And really did set me out for a great, start to life. But then in meeting John, it was this opportunity for the two of us to kind of grow together in that same way of like, anything's possible. You could do anything you want. So the way that the camp started was I had been teaching in a program right out of college. And when that program got bought over, I was sort of jobless. I was sort of, again, back to being like a struggling actor in my early 20s. And I said, well, maybe we should, think about doing our own camp. And John was just like, yes, do that. And I was like, ooh, like how? Like, what would that even look like? And so we had gotten a loft in Oakland, this gorgeous performance loft, and basically started our own little camp on Saturdays. I think there were, I don't know, maybe a dozen kids in the program. And then
you were living in the Bay Area at that time.
In the Bay Area, living up north in the Bay Area. And then very shortly after that, my mom's best friend happened to be renting out a YMCA camp that would sit empty for weeks at a time. And they said, we'll give you a great deal. It'll be so inexpensive. And we thought, overnight camp, like, it's a whole different set of issues. And like, where do you find the kids? And that was 19 years ago. And the first camp had like 38 kids in it, which now looking back was gigantic in terms of like, it was 2 salespeople. We were going door to door and like literally like being like, does your kid like acting? Come to this camp. And then over the years, working as directors and producers and mainly as actors in Los Angeles, when John worked on Glee, and then John invited Darren Criss to come to camp. And then Darren's like, sure, I'll come to your camp. And then the Chronicle came and covered the story. So it like built and built and built and built. And so what started as 38 kids, we now have close to 900 kids a year.
Woo!
Not all at once. I have to preface, not all.
Now, I have to ask, kids, define ages here.
Oh yeah, so we're the campers are ages 8 to 18. And then the counselors are like 18 to 22, mainly like college age kids. And then the teachers sort of, range 23 and above. But I mention everyone because we all take the classes. So very similar, to your school, David. It's not unusual for a teacher to be like, well, I'll try it if all the kids have gone, I'll get up. It's a real free, safe and supportive environment, especially for the college kids. So I think we get our counselors come back year after year because they're like, well, not only do I make some money and I get to work with kids, but I also get to learn about my craft because like, our faculty is comprised of people like Lori Metcalf and Sutton Foster and Jonathan Groff and Darren Criss. And the list literally goes on and on and on. It's like this amazing list of humans that comes to work with the people. So,
but I read you had the cast of Hamilton show up.
Yeah. Oh, multiple times. It's sort of like a joke at this point. I always tell the kids when we started bringing in people from Glee, it was because like, the casting directors had come to work with the kids and they had sent good word. And John was an actor on Glee for the last season. And what was comical was that at one point we got a phone call from one of the agents of one of the cast members. And they were like, hey, how come my client's never been invited to your camp? And we're like, oh, they can come. Like, oh, what? Of course. So it's just like what you think as opposed to what people see is always so different. And so I keep telling like my friends and just everyone, like, just come, just be a part of it. And people
is there an audition process?
No. So I think that's the part that as the whole faculty got together and decided in the beginning that we didn't want to ever make anyone feel like they weren't welcome to come and explore. And frankly, if you're going to be the next Steven Spielberg or you're going to be the next Ava DuVernay and be like a wonderful producer, a creator, how are we going to judge that from you doing a monologue? Right. So it sort of felt like because we're teaching everything, there was really no point in asking kids to audition, except I think to make it look more exclusive. And we're not those people. We're not into that. We're sort of like, if you want to say that you got accepted into a camp and like, oh my gosh, I'm going to such and such camp, good, go do that. Like, go be a part of that. Anyone can come be a part of ours. And frankly, if you're, you know, snobby about it, like I think some kids might be, like, I'm a musical theater genius. I was in the top 10 for the regional awards last year. Cool. That is amazing. And you're going to come and you're going to develop that skill. But I'm going to ask you to discover new skills. I'm going to ask you to go to improv where you're like, I'm petrified of improv. Cool. Go learn that. Because in this new world of entertainment, you know how many things you have to do now? Like, when I was a kid, you could actually say like, oh no, I just want to do this one thing. Now,
Nothing.
oh, and as if it wasn't enough to have to be like a creator, now TikTok is making you have to be a writer, funny. You have to know how to edit. You have to, I mean, it's like so cool though, that you get to know all these different things about art. And that's one thing we always say to parents who are looking at our program is like, we're not going to teach your child how to be a performer. Right. That's the school can teach your kid how to be a performer. Here are the lines, memorize them, you know, regurgitate with some enthusiasm. We have a play, right? How many times do you go and see, like, I tell my kids all the time, you see like, you know, a wonderful singer who sings On My Own and it's the best Les Mis you've ever seen. And, you know, she ends it. And what I always tell kids the subtext is of, I love him, I love him, I love him, but only on my own, is like, stage right, stage left, exit sign. And, you know, that's literally the subtext. And guess what? You can get away with it. Like, because you've got a gorgeous voice, you've rehearsed, the sets are beautiful, the lights are beautiful, the orchestra's beautiful, your voice is beautiful. You get away with it. But don't you want to know what she's really going through? I, as an audience member, can tell the difference in those performers. And I want to know. And I want the performer to get off stage and be an artist, so that when someone asks the question, that was amazing, that my young artists, even my older people that I work with, aren't going for, it was, thank you, oh, that's so great, thanks for saying that, that they know why it was wonderful. You know, that they're like, oh, cool, I affected you because I made the choices that I designed as my choices for the scene or for the song. It
seems like, you know, they come in, they have this, they're the seed, and you just start watering and they start to grow.
Hopefully so. And hopefully they will let me grow with them. You know, their art inspires me just the exact same way. I might have been a writer director before the camp, but not strong. And through the years of the camp, of writing projects for the camp, making films, we just wrote Michael Sobey and I just wrote a musical last year that premiered in New York just before Shelter in Place happened, with Laurie Metcalf playing the principal. It was like this, like these amazing little worlds have all come to light because of the camp. And so it's not just the kids. And we always tell the parents that when they're like, oh, it's so nice what you do for kids. And we're like, it's also how we're energized, how we, you know, are creatively fulfilled, and so many amazing, amazing little things. We started camp in 2001 because I wanted to be able to give back to kids what I wished I had had when I was their age.
There's like 2 times during the year where I get to like just truly just like be myself and just have complete creative freedom, and then also meet like the most amazing people in the world.
I would describe YATC as infinite.
Life-changing.
Home.
Experimental.
Accepting.
Amazing.
Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, because it's everything you could want and more.
Let's give a big YATC welcome to Miss Lorbel Bundy.
At Young Actors Theater Camp, you can take an array of different classes, from improv to acting to dance to musical theater. There's everything.
The Young Arts Theater Camp offers master classes, and what a master class is someone in the business who is very profound, and they come and they teach a little bit and they give us a little dose of their knowledge that they use in their everyday life for their career.
I have never felt fiercer in my life than in James Allsop's dance masterclass. It was so fun.
Naomi Grossman's masterclass. She was on American Horror Story. That's another one of my favorite ones.
It boggles my mind how many people they're able to get. And these are all like people from Broadway and from TV.
Yeah, you don't get experiences like that anywhere else.
Action!
The film program. That is probably my favorite program.
I think your horn is freaking awesome.
Never really a dull moment. You're always having fun on set, no matter what film it is.
Filming is like a painting, and you really enjoy the finished product, but you also enjoy painting it.
I got to see how some of the scenes were filmed. I've never been on like a film set before, and it was like really interesting to see like the scenes being filmed. You're gonna have a lot of fun, and you're gonna be making some great films.
It just sometimes feels like, oh, this is not a kids camp. No, I just made a full short film. At the end of the day, I cried because I was gonna have to miss my best friends. I'm gonna have something to keep with it, which is a movie. And so it's like, it's insane.
In terms of formal classes, I love scene study and monologues.
I love improv classes.
My favorite class is musical theater singing.
I really loved the monologue workshop with Shawn.
No matter what you do, you're gonna have fun. That's just a fact.
Camp offers a bunch of activities besides classes, and my favorite are the dinners where we get to dress up.
It is uniquely beautiful to watch your child know so clearly who they are and watch everyone around them celebrate them.
Friendships that we form at camp are really, really long lasting and really, really strong, even though they're formed in about a week.
I've met so many friends which I can guarantee that I will be friends with for life.
Everybody is just friends with everybody here. It's really great because we have cabin bonding time and we can make the place like it's our home, and we can treat our cabin members like they're our family, and we have a great time.
The cabins are like my home away from home because we have all of our stuff and you have so many friends to talk with. It's like a family in the cabin. It's just one big family.
She has found a number of people that she's connected with, and that includes, the people who are in her cabin, the counselors.
The staff is amazing. It's one of the reasons why, as a mom, I feel comfortable sending her, because I think you're always a little nervous when you're sending your kid, and she was quite young when she started coming, and so I was concerned about her being away from home for the first time at camp for a whole week. But when we came to pick her up, she was really upset, and at first I thought she was upset because we'd gotten caught in traffic and we were late. She was actually upset because she didn't want to go, and I think it's such a testament to the people who make the environment here at camp that she feels so welcomed, so at home, so comfortable that this is what she describes as her happy place.
They're just so sweet and nice and make everyone feel like it's their home and try so hard to make everyone feel so comforted.
These counselors are people that we spend holidays and birthdays together. We go on vacations together. It is a true family.
I really felt comfortable knowing that he was going to be in a safe place and he was secure. And I stalked him on Instagram. So I was always looking for him. So that's always the saving graces, that you can find your child on Instagram because they take so many photos and so many live videos, and the counselors are always readily accessible to people, so that was great.
I was like actually pretty sad the camp was over because I had such a great time over the summer. And then they were just like, oh yeah, we have this musical and like you can audition. And I was like, what?
This place is hell on earth.
What place is that?
Middle school.
Welcome to this wonderland.
And then we did a performance in Mountain View of the show. It's a musical about middle school. It's really great. I love it so much. And then we're going to New York in 21 days.
Last year I was able to go to Cannes, which is a film festival in France, with my film Henry with Young Actors Theatre Camp. It was incredible. And when you're there, you're learning from other professionals, you're networking. We got to do a little tourism. You walk the red carpet, which was very, very cool.
They're not just a summer camp, they're not just a winter camp, they're like so much more than just what that is. And they have like other programs, they have like weekend workshops, and you can learn a lot of cool masterclass stuff. It's really awesome.
Young Actors Theatre Camp really helped my son get accepted to New York University, Tisch School of the Arts, and then helped him grow his resume and his palette of experiences.
It's just this whole immersive program.
Logan taught Samantha how to do a cold read when she was in 7th grade, and ever since then she's been nailing her auditions, and Shawn helped her act the song in private coaching and through one-on-ones at summer sessions, and she's been just growing ever since, and she always wants to go back.
I come back because I learn so much. I honestly think I wouldn't come if it wasn't for the amount that I learn every year.
It's just great to come in and have all this work to do in such a safe and supporting environment.
It's such a great experience that like you can't really capture anywhere else.
And it's a different experience for everybody, but it's always a good one.
My favorite part is to see the kids blossom.
You know, you'll see a difference in your child, and it's amazing to see.
It was just life-changing socially and professionally for me.
Got acting and singing, dancing, and also this family out of it.
It's kind of hard to leave when I'm surrounded by such great people.
I am eternally grateful that I am able to give my kids the opportunity to go through this program.
You're just going to be welcomed with open arms and into this great family.
I have to mention that you have a hashtag for your young theaters tab.
Oh yes, yeah. So we've you know, sort of the fundraising project that we've been working on for the last couple of months is when a summer camp loses summer, it's sort of just, we're just going to be real campy now. So it was a challenge, you know, and we did move online. So we have amazing classes online, like so many different companies out there. But we can't lie and say that it didn't greatly, you know, devastate the financials of our little business. And so when you know, 90% of our year is based on our summer camp. And by losing that, it was like, oh no, you know, to date, the American Camp Association just announced that over 45% of overnight camps have closed their doors with no plans of reopening. And that just can't happen. And it certainly can't happen to Young Actors Theatre Camp, because very specific to what you all are doing, David, it's, you know, it's a very specific environment that has been created. There's nothing like it in the world. We are able to welcome in kids 8 to 18 of all levels, like we said, with no auditions, to a completely safe and supportive environment, which leads to so many discoveries, not just of talent, but also of self. And it's so important that the arts continue and that arts education at YATC continues. So we have this #SaveYATC fund. We are trying in the year 2020 to raise $150,000 so that we can make it to our 20th birthday, so that we can blow out the candles on that 20th anniversary cake in the summer of 2021. And luckily, just this morning, we hit the milestone of 60,000. 0, yes. So we are 60,000 of the 150,000. We're on the way, and I got to say that truly every dollar amount counts. We've had angels that have come in for 5,000, and it's just, that's amazing that you can do that. And it's amazing, as my friend Tishan Billiard said, Tishan Lish, I just used her maiden name. Sorry, Tishan. She's married, happily married. But as she said, if you have ever found comfort in a movie theater, or if you're binge watching Netflix right now, you have to realize that you are reaping the benefits of all of those years of arts education. From the director of photography to the actors to the editors, all of those people have been trained, and we have to continue to invest in arts education right now, especially more than ever, so that the art continues to grow for us. Because right now we're so overwhelmed with all this art, right? There's so much that's being shown to us, but we have to keep that growing. We have to grow the artists of tomorrow. So if you can find a place to donate, whether it's $5 or $5,000, donate to arts education. It's so, so, so important. It's definitely one of the biggest passions of my life. I know it's a huge passion of David's life, and to find organizations that are out there that are giving something back to kids or young people in general that is different than what everyone else is offering is really important too. Because diamonds in the rough are what we're looking for. It's more fun to, rather than to set a diamond, to find one, right?
Well, thank you for this. I can't wait till you have a week of camp for adults.
I know. We're really, we had one planned in May of this year, and it was called Mamma Mia Camp. And of course, dads were welcome too, but we were like, there's not a musical that made sense. Right. So we're like, Mamma Mia Camp and Papa Pia Camp as well. Everyone to come. But yeah, we were definitely in the works of bringing in not just parents of campers, but also, people who, we have friends who were like, I would love to try to get up at a jazz club and sing a song. And we're like, well, come. It's what I tell everyone. This is like such an important thing to know as artists. And a lot of artists already know this, but I think people looking at it from the outside perspective, when we watch reality shows like The Voice, and they get all the judges to turn around and vote for them and plea for them, it's not luck. It's a skill that person developed. So it's so important to know that if you ever wanted to be a singer, or if you ever wanted to try a monologue, all you got to do is try. Like, it's a skill that can be developed. It's not like, oh, I tried to sing and I wasn't good at it. Well, how long did you try? Let's all do it together. So I would equally love to have an adult camp and to get to hang out with you and grow our art together. That would be so fun.